You crave connection. You really do. You feel that gnawing loneliness sometimes, that empty space in your chest when it seems like everyone else has someone and you're flying solo. That deep yearning for someone who truly gets you. That desire for meaningful exchanges, not just water cooler chatter. That burning hope to be truly seen, authentically loved. You want it. And yet, when friends suggest hanging out, you stall. Your cell buzzes, you send it straight to voicemail. When you actually have a chance to be with people, you find yourself concocting excuses. You choose to stay home. You choose to be alone. Again. And afterward, the confusion sets in. Why did I do that? Why do I keep choosing solitude when loneliness hurts so much? Why do I crave connection, but bolt at the first sign of it? If this sounds like your life, then you're wrestling with one of the most baffling paradoxes of the awakening soul. And there is an explanation. One that will finally help you understand yourself. One that just might change how you view your solitude forever. Today, I'm going to explain why you prefer being alone, even when you desperately crave company. I'm going to reveal what your soul is really searching for. And I'm going to share what Eckhart Tolle espoused about the profound difference between loneliness and aloneness. Because once you grasp this difference, everything shifts. Let me kick things off by asking you something. When you picture yourself hanging out with other people, what do you feel in your body? Not what you think you should feel. What you actually feel. For a lot of people on a spiritual path, there's an almost immediate tension, a tightening somewhere, a subtle resistance. Even when your mind is screaming that you should want this, your body is telling a different story. This isn't some figment of your imagination. This is real, and it's trying to tell you something important. The truth is that a large portion of a social interaction in our world is utterly exhausting for empathic individuals. Not because there's something wrong with you, but because most social interaction takes place at a level that simply doesn't nourish you. Think about what unfolds when you're with most people. There's chit-chat about the weather, office gossip, and the latest Netflix craze. There's behind-the-back talk about other folks. There's griping and moaning about life. There's unconscious energy, vibes, flying everywhere. There's ego meeting ego, pretending to connect. And you feel all of it. If you're sensitive, you soak it up like a sponge. Their anxiety bleeds into your anxiety. Their negativity becomes your heaviness. Their unconsciousness tugs at your consciousness. And by the time you head home, you feel completely drained, depleted, like you need 3 days of solitude just to recover from one evening out. I want to validate something right here. This experience is legitimate. It's not just in your head. You're not being antisocial or difficult. Research has shown that social interaction demands significant mental energy. The effort of constantly monitoring how we're presenting ourselves, the mental gymnastics of tracking conversations and responding appropriately, the constant strain of managing impressions and navigating ever-shifting social dynamics. For everyone, this takes a toll. But for sensitive and awakened souls, it requires so much more, because you're not just managing the surface level. You're also processing the energy underneath, the things people aren't saying, the emotions they're hiding, the pain they carry but pretend they don't. You feel it all, and feeling all of it is utterly exhausting. There's yet another layer to this onion. The modern world has birthed a rather bizarre phenomenon. We're more connected than ever through technology, and more disconnected than ever in real life. Author Nicholas Carr calls this being alone together. We're constantly in communication, but rarely in true connection. Likes and comments and rapid-fire messages masquerade as intimacy, but they're not intimate. They're mere fragments, crumbs of connection that leave you even hungrier than before. So, when you have the opportunity for genuine, face-to-face interaction, something within you resists. Not because you don't crave connection, but because you've been let down so many times. You've shown up, hoping for depth, and received surface, and you've opened yourself, hoping for understanding, and received judgment. You've reached out, hoping for presence, and received distraction. The resistance you feel is self-protection, born from real wounds. This is why you avoid people, not because you don't want connection, but because what passes for connection in most situations isn't actually connection at all. It's energy exchange. It's unconscious transaction. It's everything except the authentic soul-to-soul connection that your heart is really longing for. Tolle understood this profoundly. He espoused that if you can't be at peace with yourself when you're alone, you'll seek a relationship to mask your unease. But he also understood the flip side, that some people have discovered such profound peace in their own presence that most external interactions feel like a step down. This is what's happening to you. You've tapped into something real within yourself, something quiet and deep and true. And when you venture out into the world and encounter the noise and the drama and the unconsciousness, it feels jarring. It feels like leaving home, not heading toward it. So you stay home, not out of fear, not out of conventional social anxiety, but out of a deep, unwavering knowing that what you possess inside is far more nourishing than what most gatherings have to offer. But here's where things get knotty. You still have that innate human need for connection. You are, after all, a social creature. You still yearn to be seen and known and loved. And when that need goes unmet, you feel lonely. So you're caught between two truths. The truth that the vast majority of social interaction drains you dry, and the truth that you still require some form of connection. This is the paradox, and most people never resolve it. They simply swing back and forth between loneliness and overwhelm, never finding that elusive middle ground. Tolle made a crucial distinction that can illuminate your path here. He distinguished between loneliness and aloneness. They might sound similar, but they are worlds apart. Loneliness is suffering. It's the agonizing pain of feeling separate. It's the deep-seated ache of believing you're cut off from others. It's rooted in a story your mind is constantly spinning, a story that insists something is wrong, that you're missing something essential, that you're fundamentally incomplete without others. Loneliness demands thought. It demands comparison. It demands endlessly imagining what others possess that you don't. Loneliness is a mental activity disguised as a feeling. Aloneness is different. Aloneness is a state of being. It's what remains when the stories stop, when you are simply present with yourself without judging your situation. Aloneness is peaceful. Aloneness is full. Aloneness is the discovery that you are never truly alone because you are always with the deepest part of yourself. Tolle espoused that solitude is not the absence of connection. It's the deepest form of connection. Connection to life, connection to being, connection to yourself. When you close your door, you aren't shutting people out. You're inviting yourself in. You're creating the space for the most important relationship you'll ever have, the relationship with your own presence. This is what you're actually doing when you choose to be alone. Even if you don't consciously know it, you're choosing presence over noise. You're choosing depth over surface. You're choosing yourself over the endless demands of the external world. And this isn't selfish. This is wise. This is necessary for anyone on a spiritual path. But here's what I want you to understand. There's healthy solitude, and there's avoidance, and they can look exactly the same from the outside. Healthy solitude is chosen from a place of fullness. You go inward because that's where the treasure is. You enjoy your own company. You feel nourished by silence. You emerge from your solitude, refreshed and ready to engage with life. Avoidance is different. Avoidance is chosen from a place of fear. You stay home because you're afraid of being judged. You avoid people because social situations feel threatening. You isolate, not because solitude nourishes you, but because connection terrifies you, and you emerge from your isolation more depleted than before. Be honest with yourself about which one you're experiencing. Both can coexist. You might have legitimate needs for solitude and also have patterns of avoidance running underneath. The way to tell the difference is to notice how you feel. Does your solitude leave you feeling peaceful and full, or does it leave you feeling hollow and disconnected? Does your time alone restore you, or does it just delay the confrontation with a fear you don't want to face? If you discover there's avoidance happening, that's not a problem. It's information. It's showing you where there's still work to do. It's pointing you toward the fears that need to be felt and released. One of the biggest fears for empathic individuals is the fear of being overwhelmed. You know from experience that being with others can drain you. So you protect yourself by avoiding situations that have drained you before. This makes perfect sense. It's intelligent self-protection. But sometimes we overprotect. Sometimes the fear becomes bigger than the actual threat. Sometimes we avoid situations that could actually nourish us because we've been so hurt by the ones that didn't. Not all connection is the same. Not all people are the same. There are gatherings that drain and gatherings that restore. There are people who deplete you and people who fill you up. The challenge is learning to discern the difference. And here's something important. When you do the inner work of becoming present, you change how you experience being with others. The more anchored you are in your own being, the less you're affected by the unconsciousness of others. The more you know yourself, the less you need validation from outside. The more full you are in your aloneness, the more you can enjoy company without needing it. This is the goal. Not to choose between solitude and connection, but to become so rooted in your own presence that you can move freely between both. Tolle lived this. He spent years in almost total solitude after his transformation, sitting on park benches, watching life, needing nothing from anyone, completely at peace. And then, when the time came, he was able to teach thousands, to connect with millions through his books and talks, not because he needed the connection, but because he had something real to share. His solitude had prepared him. His aloneness had made him useful. This is the deeper purpose of your solitude. It's not just self-protection. It's not just recovery from the world. It's preparation. In your solitude, you're developing something. You're deepening your relationship with presence. You're cultivating an inner resource that will serve you and others. You're becoming someone who doesn't need external validation to feel whole. And from that place, everything changes. You can be with others without losing yourself. You can engage with the world without being drained by IT. You can offer real connection because you're connected to yourself first. The loneliness you sometimes feel is not a sign that something is wrong. It's often a sign that your standards have risen. You no longer want just any connection. You want real connection, deep connection, soul-to-soul connection. And that kind of connection is rare. It requires two people who are both present, two people who are both willing to be real, two people who have done enough inner work to meet each other beneath the masks. Until you find those people, the loneliness makes sense. You're not lonely because you're broken. You're lonely because you're discerning. You're lonely because you refuse to fill the void with empty calories. This is actually a form of integrity, a form of self-respect. You'd rather feel the ache of genuine loneliness than numb it with false connection. That takes courage. That takes wisdom, even when it hurts. But here's the promise. When you stay true to what you really want, you eventually find it. When you stop settling for surface connection, you create space for depth. When you honor your need for solitude, you become the kind of person who can truly meet another. Your people are out there, the ones who understand without needing explanation, the ones who recharge you instead of draining you, the ones who can sit in silence with you and have it feel like the deepest conversation. They exist, and they're looking for you, too. One of the most profound realizations during spiritual awakening is that you're not as alone as you feel. There are others like you, scattered across the world, each one feeling isolated in their own way. Each one of us wondering if anyone else sees what they see, each one longing for a connection that matches their depth. The internet has actually helped with this. Not the superficial sideshow of social media, but the power to find communities of people on similar paths, to watch videos like this one and feel understood, to read comments from others who share your experience, to know that somewhere out there, someone is nodding along with you right now. This is a new kind of connection. It isn't quite the same as being in the same room, but it is real. It matters. It reminds you that your solitude is not complete isolation. You are part of a larger awakening, a collective shift in consciousness, and everyone in this shift is learning to navigate the same paradox you face. Sometimes, community comes in unexpected forms. A stranger you meet briefly who says exactly what you need to hear. An old friend you suddenly see in a new light, a neighbor you never really talked to, who turns out to be on the same journey. The universe is always arranging meetings. Trust that your people will find their way to you. But they will not find you if you are hiding. They will not find you if you have completely closed yourself off. There's a balance to find, enough solitude to stay connected to yourself, enough openness to allow the right connections in. This is the practice, knowing when you need to be alone, knowing when you are ready to reach out, learning to trust both impulses, learning to honor both needs. Let me share something practical that might help. When you feel the pull towards solitude, ask yourself this question: am I going inward to nourish myself or to avoid something? If the answer is nourishment, follow the pull. Go home, close the door, be with yourself, no guilt. But if the answer is avoidance, pause, ask what you are afraid of. See if you can feel the fear without acting on it, and then make a conscious choice about whether to stay or go. Sometimes the growth is in staying. Sometimes the wisdom is in leaving. Only you can know the difference in each moment. Another thing that helps is to be very selective about who you spend time with. Not everyone deserves your vibe. Not every invitation needs to be accepted. You have permission to choose quality over quantity, to have a small circle of authentic connections rather than a large network of draining ones. When you do spend time with others, practice staying present. Notice when you start to lose yourself. Notice when you start absorbing energy that is not yours. and gently come back to your own center, you can learn to be with others without leaving yourself. It takes practice, it takes awareness, but it is possible, and it changes everything. I want to address something else, the guilt that often comes with preferring solitude. Society tells us that being social is good, and being alone is bad. That extroverts are healthy, and introverts need fixing. That wanting to be alone means there is something wrong with you. This is nonsense. The need for solitude is not a defect, it's a feature, especially for those on a spiritual path. In every tradition, the seekers went into solitude, the mystics withdrew from the world, the sages found truth in silence. Buddha sat alone under a tree. Jesus went into the wilderness. Muhammad meditated in a cave. The desert fathers and mothers sought silence in remote places. Meister Eckhart wrote about the importance of inner solitude. Rumi found God in the loneliness of separation. Every great spiritual figure knew that solitude was essential for depth. And now, here you are, following the same instinct they followed, seeking the same silence they sought. You are in good company. Your preference for aloneness is not a disorder. It's a calling. The world needs people who can be alone, who can think deeply, who can access wisdom that only comes in silence, who can then bring that wisdom back to others. This is your role, not to be the life of the party, but to be the depth in the room, not to fill every silence with chatter, but to offer presence that actually means something. Trust your nature, trust your need for space, trust the wisdom of your solitude, and also trust that you will find your people, that connection is possible without exhaustion, that you do not have to choose between your depth and your belonging. You can have both in the right circumstances, with the right souls. One day, you will meet someone and time will stop. Not romantically necessarily, but energetically. You will talk, and it will not drain you. It will fill you. You will be together, and it will feel like the best kind of solitude, because you are both present, both real, both meeting each other in the depth instead of the surface. That is what you are waiting for. That is why the other connections feel empty, because you have tasted what is possible, and you refuse to settle for less. Keep refusing, keep protecting your solitude, keep honoring your need for depth, and keep your heart open enough that when the real ones show up, you are ready to let them in. Tolle espoused that loneliness is just a word, but you are so much more. You are not your loneliness. You are not your aloneness. You are the awareness that experiences both. You are the presence that remains whether you are with others or by yourself. You are already whole, already complete, already connected to the source of all connection. When you know this, everything relaxes. The desperate need for others softens. The fear of being alone dissolves, and you find yourself able to move freely, alone when you need to be, with others when it serves you, neither state defining you, both states available to you. And this is freedom. This is what the spiritual path leads to, not the elimination of loneliness, but the transcendence of it. The discovery that beneath loneliness and beneath aloneness, there is something that is never separate, something that is always connected, something that is always home. You carry that home inside you. You have always carried it. And the more you rest in it, the less you need anything external to complete you. From that place, your relationships transform. They become offerings instead of needs. They become sharings instead of takings. They become two whole people meeting, instead of two incomplete people trying to fill each other's holes. This is the love that lasts. This is the connection that does not exhaust. This is what your soul has been searching for all along. And it starts with you, in your solitude, in your silence, in your willingness to be alone long enough to discover that you never were. In the next video, I'm going to talk about why your memory is failing during your spiritual awakening, the strange cognitive changes that happen when consciousness shifts, and what they actually mean. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you experience this paradox of wanting connection but choosing solitude? What do you think is really going on when this happens? Share in the comments below. Your insights might help someone else understand themselves better. Remember this: your solitude is not a prison, it's a sanctuary. Your aloneness is not a curse, it's a gift. And the loneliness you feel is just a reminder that your heart is still open, still hoping, still ready for the authentic soul-to-soul connections that will actually meet you where you are. They're coming. Keep becoming yourself in the meantime. Keep going inward. Keep cultivating presence. The deeper you go into yourself, the easier it will be to recognize others who have gone deep too. You are not broken. You are not antisocial. You are not too much or too little. You are exactly what this world needs: a soul who values depth, a heart that refuses to settle, a presence that knows the difference between being alone and being lonely. And that makes you rare, that makes you precious, that makes you exactly who you were meant to be. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, be gentle with your solitude and be patient with your longing. Both are leading you somewhere beautiful, even when it doesn't feel that way. Trust the journey. You're closer than you think.